Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into a heartbreaking and rapidly evolving crisis that's unfolding right before our eyes. Forget the headlines, we are talking about the real stories, the human cost of shifting immigration policies. Are we really seeing a reverse flow of migrants? What does it truly mean when dreams shatter and desperation takes over? Stick around, because this is a story you won't want to miss. Imagine this: you've risked everything. You've braved the treacherous Darien Gap, a jungle so dense, so dangerous, it's a nightmare for even the most seasoned travelers. You've endured months, even years, of waiting in limbo, clinging to the hope of a better life in the United States. You've pinned all your hopes on the promise of asylum. But then, the rug is pulled out from under you. Policies change, doors slam shut, and the dream you've sacrificed everything for vanishes in a puff of smoke. What do you do? Where do you go? That's the reality for thousands of migrants, primarily from Venezuela and Colombia, who are now caught in a desperate reverse flow. They are not heading north anymore, they are going back, retracing their steps, returning to the countries they once fled. Are you shocked? You should be. We are talking about speedboats packed with weary souls, zipping through jungle rivers near the Colombia-Panama border. These aren't joyrides, they are voyages of desperation. These are people who waited months, sometimes over a year, in Mexico, hoping for an asylum appointment through the Biden-era CBP One app. But that app, a lifeline for so many, is now gone, a victim of policy shifts under the previous administration. Remember Carla Castillo, the 36-year-old Venezuelan traveling with her sister? When Trump arrived and eliminated the application, all our hopes went up in smoke, she said. Can you imagine that feeling? That utter devastation. Here's the harsh reality: this reverse flow is being exploited by a well-oiled migrant smuggling machine. Smugglers who once profited from the northbound surge are now cashing in on the southbound retreat. They are charging between $200 and $250 per person, including children, for these perilous boat rides. And these aren't just spare dollars; for many, it's the last of their savings, the remnants of their shattered American dream. They are paying through Zelle and other money transfer apps, a digital lifeline in a world of despair. This boat route, once known as the VIP route for those who could afford to bypass the Darien's horrors, is now a symbol of broken promises. The Darien's migrant smuggling industry has largely collapsed, but these smugglers are opportunistic, preying on the vulnerable. Carla Castillo's story is just one of many. She's part of a mass exodus from crisis-stricken Venezuela, a country that's pushed millions to seek refuge elsewhere. She spent 5 years in Chile, a country that's increasingly closed its doors to Venezuelan migrants. So, she risked everything, braving the Darien Gap, only to find herself back at square one. She's anxious to return to her 4 children and mother, who raised money through a raffle to help her get home. How much anguish must she feel? Mixed feelings, she calls it. A heart-wrenching description. It's unclear exactly how many people are making this journey daily, but large groups, mainly from Venezuela and Colombia, are flocking to the area, seeking passage back. Costa Rica reports seeing between 50 and 75 people crossing south every day. While that's a fraction of the thousands who were heading north a year ago, it's still a significant number, a testament to the scale of this crisis. And here's another layer of complexity: some migrants refuse to return to Venezuela, citing the recent elections and the escalating violence. They'd rather endure economic and legal precarity in other countries that are already struggling to cope with the influx. There's no way I'm going back to Venezuela, says Celia Alcala. There are many of us that don't want to go back. They are going to Peru, Ecuador, Colombia. Just like before. But these boat rides are not without their dangers. There's little police presence at the checkpoints, and safety measures are often disregarded. Just recently, a boat capsized off the coast of Panama, claiming the life of an 8-year-old Venezuelan child. Can you imagine the horror? The grief? The fear that grips every parent on these boats. This tragedy has fueled even more concern among migrants like Juan Luis Guedes, who's returning with his wife and daughter from southern Mexico. They spent 4 months waiting for an asylum appointment, hoping to reunite with family in the US. I don't know if we will get there alive, he says. But if we make it, the idea is to go back to Chile. My daughter was born there. This isn't just a news story, it's a human tragedy. It's a story of shattered dreams, desperate journeys, and the harsh realities of shifting immigration policies. What can we do? How can we help? I encourage you to share this video to raise awareness about this crisis. Educate yourself and support organizations that are providing aid to migrants. You can find links to resources in the description below. Also consider looking into organizations like the International Rescue Committee and the United Nations Refugee Agency. Let's not turn a blind eye to the suffering of these people. Let's remember that behind every statistic, behind every policy change, there are real lives, real families, real stories. What are your thoughts on this situation? How can we find a more humane and sustainable solution to the global migration crisis? Share your comments below, and let's start a conversation. Thank you for watching, and remember, empathy is the first step towards change. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more in-depth reporting.